All right, I'm going to make you. I'm going to do one thing, and then we'll go into crawls. Transition logic. So visual logic was those blocks that you connect together.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you to make a new scene. We're going to animate it. So hit your F3 to get you your layout mode. Two scene directors. One's called in and one's called out.
Was that the Xpression computer, or?
I think it was the battery. Did you see that flash? We just briefly lost power.
Is that what it was? Oh, like yeah, UPS?
Yeah.
Control S.
I might have kicked it.
Okay.
No, Pat, you not see the whole room just flashed me.
Wait, the lights flickering?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that. It could have been
It
at the
was-
same exact time that I blinked.
Good. Okay. Create me a Taurus.
I didn't get those scene directors yet. I got
Oh,
those
okay,
back.
sorry.
They're gone. What
Because what happened? You probably hit the X. So you can go out and reset your default view.
Yeah. Okay, I did exit out. That doesn't
Yeah.
return it to the sidebar there. Okay, I got
But
it.
there is a display menu at the top that you could use to open up that one particular item. All right.
Okay, we have to.
And I think you've got a button on your fancy keyboard that says Scene Directors.
Yeah.
And look, it's docked in there too. But yeah, when we got more than one scene director, which one gets opened up?
Alright, wait.
So I want those renamed. Are the scene directors renamed? So that one, you're going to rename to be NULL or empty. Just you're going to take that one and you're going to rename it in. You're going to create another one. It's going to be called out. Okay, so back to the design side of it. If you could make that a cool color. Apply the yellow and fix it so that we get and double click on the donut and set the emissive to black bottom left, and then take your diffuse and make it a yellow, not a blue, because yeah. Oh, we didn't name it. We didn't name the material yellow, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, we did.
Okay. Hit OK. All right. So the in scene director. Right click, add an animation controller. 40 seems to be a good length, right? This is the end frame, so you're going to go to the end there. You're going to hit Control K. And you're going to not do rotation, just, yeah, I don't know, it could be. We'll do X and Y. And a Z. Because I'm thinking about where it's going to go after this. What's your animation controller number? Is that the one that we want to put the keyframe in? So move that set keyframe box over to the side. That's, it looks like it. Okay, hit set and close. All right, go back to the 0. Let's move it up and to the left and away from us. So the idea is it's going to fly in
Yeah.
to us, and then it's going to stop, and then we're going to fly. We're going to fly through the hole on the way out. And Z negative numbers. All right. Control K. Yeah, you might need to.
Yeah,
How far is your Z position there?
negative 345.
Okay. Set and close. Cool. All right. With transition logic, we are just creating the in animation. We don't care about how it goes after that. We don't put a pause in there. We don't put any offlines. It's just going to play this to that point. Now, what we do though is we want to set a default frame. Because this is going to be kind of the point at which the system will default to, and I like to think of it as when I go from this scene director to the next, this is the point I want to hand it over at.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me. I truly don't 100% understand the reasoning behind it, but it solves so many problems if you do this and don't forget. All right. At the end there, right click on the timeline at the top. So that when I say at the end, that last frame of the animation controller. Right click
On track 1 or on the animation?
on the timeline itself, on the marker itself. So you see you get this marker menu. And it's okay if it's just past it by like a frame. Go to default frame and hit set. Because if you scrub through this scene director and leave it halfway through and we jump to the other scene director, it stays where we last left it. Go ahead and you can also set a preview frame there. So right click on that marker. So that's going to notice the thumbnail updated.
Yes.
So we're forcing it to always show us this particular point.
Okay, that's helpful for organization.
Yeah, especially if you've got animation and
Before,
you don't, if the text is not all there, the operator can get puzzled. All right.
if you don't do that, does it just leave on the last frame that was viewed?
Pretty
More or less?
much, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It sometimes it doesn't, and you can hit refresh thumbnails, and it will then update to where it's at. So, all right, close out that scene director. We're done with that.
I'm done with it.
Now you're going to do the same thing, sort of add another animation controller, resize it. I'd rename it at this point just so you don't get animation controller 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I say so a lot. At least I'm not saying This one we're going to zoom straight out. So Z-axis, just make it a big number. X and Y, leave it as is. So you've set it, have you set a keyframe here? No, right? So it's important to have the same matching keyframe from,
Okay.
yep. There you go.
Fly right through.
Oh, no, that's right. The point is to show you how it goes, right? Because I could see it doing a flip around and we fly through the donut hole. Or you could do like animate the Z scale so it looks like it's a warp. Boom. All right, I'll just stop screwing around. Let's go. So, I did it again. Catching myself saying the same word over and over. At the very beginning of this scene director, you want to do the same thing. Set a default frame like you did for the in. So the in, the default frame goes at the end. The out, the default frame is going to be at the beginning. Right? That's going to be that handover point. Here is where you could add in and ease out. So you still, because you've got two separate animations going on, right?
So the preview frame.
That's
no
fine.
matter
It
how
could be
many
there.
scene directors you have.
Yeah, you only
there's
get one.
One preview frame for each scene.
Yeah,
Got it. Okay, so I just overwrote that value from the other one.
doesn't matter.
Okay.
Your
As long as I
key,
know what it looks like.
yeah, your keyframes are all good. You don't messing with that. Your default frames are all good. You're okay. I was about to say that word,
So
SO, but let's. If you were to go to the sequencer now, what would you expect to see? Drag and drop it into your scene,
no motion. Yeah.
because that scene directed number, or the null one, empty, is the one that's playing. It's got no keyframes.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're now going to put in some transition logic rules that say when to play the in and when to play the out.
Okay.
So, damn it. Okay.
The taboo buzzer.
Yeah. Little things that you kind of pick up after a while. It's like, why do I keep saying that? My other one is again, especially when I've never said it before. Trying to reel this down. If you go to the layout, which you are in, to set up the transition logic rules, we need to go to the scene object in our scene. So that's our object manager. It's the very topmost object. Object manager, bottom left corner at the moment that you got? Yep. You see there, transition logic. And a bunch of buttons. Very first one, which, how would you describe that button visually? What does it look like?
Looks like a plus sign over a piece of paper.
I thought that looked like a whirl, or like a water droplet, a world. That's a plus sign?
It's an extruded, rotated plus sign.
Okay, no,
Very low res though.
it makes a whole bunch more sense when you say plus sign.
Yeah.
But you'll see it says, when you hover over it, add new rule. So you want to do that. And it says untitled rule. You are going to rename that in and out, or in/out. Okay. This is the first rule of our transition logic. What scene director do I play when the graphic is coming in? So you're going to see these tabs to the right. There is in, out, back to back, and scene triggers. We're going to go in and out. If the rule is true, look at that. You get a list of your scene directors.
Yeah.
So you want an in, and there's an out. We'll play the out. So what does that immediately do? So hit your F4 shortcut to get to the sequencer. Hit your oh no button. Now hit take. Now we get that animating in, right?
Yep.
Hit your take offline.
Ooh. Okay, so take offline can trigger something else.
Yep,
Doesn't just like clear.
correct.
It executes an out command.
Because if
which
you
is-
look, if you take it,
Uh-huh.
it's transitioning, it's online. We've played that in scene director to the end. We're at the end of it.
Yeah.
There's nothing else that tells it to go. There isn't a pause point,
Yeah.
so we can't advance through, because our advance through now is going to be our
Yeah.
take offline. Where transition logic is more helpful is like lower thirds or graphics that have a same template, different text, and you may then decide to fly something in, but then you may have a different animation when you're going back to back from your next graphic is exactly the same as the first. So drag another one of those into the sequence. We'll see what this does for us. Take that online. Just go straight take.
Ooh.
Old one went out. Whereas in the
Yeah.
past, when we've done it in the transition in out, you don't get that out. So we're playing the out. As the new graphic comes in, the old one's playing out.
I like it.
So and that's one of the options you do have in the transition logic rules, is you can say, hey, wait for the out effect before playing the in.
As you can tell, to hold off and pause until the other one's done.
And yeah, so it'll be one after the other.
Space, yeah.
But I kind of like it when it's crossed up. So what we're actually doing is we are rendering two scenes on the same layer.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, because even though they're both 0, they're not.
Yeah.
They're
This is
participating,
where
they're playing nicely.
you can get some weird behavior, especially you know the example that we did where the box grew longer and shorter. Transition logic doesn't work well for that because you're going from one to the other where the box is a different width, and that can make things go funny. We did do some scripting and figure out how we took into consideration the length of the width of the box on the outgoing scene with the one that's going in, and we animated a scene director that's essentially animating the width of the background to fit based on the value of the width of the text. So it would be it would animate a little nicely. That was a bit of a head scratcher to get working. I'm trying to think of, in this case, a back-to-back transition. If it's something you want to dig into, I mean, there is a video, a Xpression U video on it. So, for example, a 2-line lower third, I'll talk theoretically about it. You would have a scene director for flying in, scene director for flying out. Then you would have your null scene director, or empty. The idea is if nothing happens, it plays, or if the rules don't get to a yes, we'll get the empty scene director will play. And some rumor even says that scene director plays regardless. So if you want something to always happen, stick it on that scene director. But then you're going to have a scene director for the back-to-back transition. So if I've got two lines, I'm going to have a rule that says if the top line is the same but the bottom line is different, then I want an animation that animates just the bottom line, leaves the top line. Then you got to make a scene director for where the top line is different, the bottom line is the same. Then you have to make a scene director for if both lines are different. And so you have two scene directors for each of those cases. So you're going to have an in and an out for both lines being different, an in and an out for the top line being different, in and an out for the bottom line being different. So that's 2, 4, 6, then 7, 8. Yeah. Some of the older projects you see there, you're into 70-odd scene directors, because they've got things like, well, if I have a image that I want to put in, that will move text over, and you may have an in and an out for that. Then you've got a version of the text that is no logo, so you move your text over, and so let me know when you want to go deeper into that. I can help you through it.
It's a lot of planning to go
Yes.
to make things happen.
What's that?
Those demo projects might have examples.
I don't think it. Well, try it. Yeah. The wire. So on the layout side, let's open up a lower third. Now, here's a quick shortcut. If you go back to the sequencer and actually find one of those lower thirds, select it. Control E. There you go, you get to edit this thing. You've got a lot of masks here. This is the old brute force way, and they've got continuous animation on it. So you can sort of see how it's built. So go into the transition logic tab. So they didn't have it. That project's old enough that it predates. But you see there's a pink S. If you double click on that, that's your script for this thing. So sort of based on Visual Basic. Got a bunch of stuff in there. Sports package maybe?
Kind of like transition logic.
Yeah, you got an online.
Yeah, offline. Ding.
If visible true, engine. That's the bug stuff. get animation controller third off. Yeah, so this is the scripting variant of that. I've done scripting where I'm turning layers, tracks on and off on scene directors. That's a thing as well. That scene trigger that made it jump, we could have made a script that on the key press, go get the scene that's online and whatever layer it is, get the scene director and play the scene director. All right, status log, lots of missing files there. Just hit close on that. On the status log. And let's see if you can find a lower third that's in there. I'll be right back. Control E. Yeah. Is there any no transition logic there? Yeah.
This is from 2015.
Yeah. Predates some of the functions here.
Xpression splits. The last one.
Or Project Prime. Is that?
This one. Project's Prime.
Try opening that one. It's one of the ones I don't often open up. Nope. All right. Let's do a crawl and we'll come back to transition logic.
Okay.
I might cheat and just copy one off. Especially if I can team viewer in. I'll just send the file. Okay. There are two ways of doing crawls. I'll do the basic way and then I'll show you the more geared towards data link.
One of my random questions is about data link.
Yeah. So, we need to hit your random questions too. So create a new scene.
I'll go back to our other project.
Yeah. Transfer site? Okay. Because dude stepped out for a second. We're going to go to the Ross video, the Googles. And then you're going to type in ross.files.com. And then I'm going to type my magic password. And click never.
You want me to just log you in here anytime?
So go CG, Xpression CG clips. And go from there. Demo project samples for customers. Where do you go from there?
Demo projects.
Try it. Oh, it could be under examples. So those are all the project kind of things you got, right? So go back one. Examples. Go up one, go back one.
If you go to WFH, that folder,
Work from home.
Wow.
transition logic training lower third, Xpression package.
There you go.
Am I downloading that?
All done.
Quick.
So go to your expression. God, gotta stop saying so. Yeah, so again, let's stick them all together. So what did you do there? So we're doing a cancel. You're going to import. See, I stopped talking. I'm all in my head, like trying to stop saying so. And again, from project file, then go to the downloads folder. Ooh. So I guess.
Maybe this is doing it.
No, I think it's the XPP is what it is. So it's a package project. So if you just go, dude, so again, if you go to this PC, actually click, because it's still thinking we're looking for a, yeah. So hit cancel. So it's not an import, cancel again. You're going to go explore. So you can either hit this. Now go to your download folder and double click on that. Save changes, go ahead, yes. Now this is like, hey, this is a zipped up file for the project. Hey, where do you want me to put it? You're going to browse and choose your D drive. I'd go D, demo projects, and then hit select folder. And you'll hit next and deploy, because again, we like our buttons. There we go. So notice you've got an in out. Upper in, out, if all is true, in. There's more, this is a little more involved. So what do you see? You see it says flag, right? So it has its own transition logic. Let's go to the sequencer and see what we've got. Got a few options here. So complete. So if you just run that first page, go one at a time, right? If you go to next one down, notice it didn't add. If you now take offline, go up one, take online, take offline. Okay. You take it online, go down one line, take it.
Okay.
Because they
So it's
both
got
both
like
lines were different.
It's got
So
a
if-
transition built in.
Yeah, go down one, take it. So notice that the bottom line animated, not the top line. Right, down one,
Both again.
yep. Flag, notice the flag come up. Now go back to the page, go back one page, down one, take it offline.
Flag stays and moves down.
Yes,
Ooh.
based on the fact that there's a rule there that says, look, if that other scene is online,
Yeah.
then you're playing a different scene director. So now if you take that lower third in,
Move back.
moves up. Two separate take items. So keep going down. So that's no logic, right? We're just now taking pages one after the other, right? I'm glad you said this, Mike. This was a good one.
It's nice to see it.
Mm-hmm. No flag triggers, because there'll be like a scene director trigger in one of those lower thirds that says, I'm coming in, move me up. That there's an animation that will tell the flag to go up on the incoming lower third. If there is no flag online at the time, nothing happens, because it will tell it to animate, but because it's not online, you don't see it. All right. So now you've got that project, you can pull it apart. Let's have a look at the layout and just sort of dissect some of these. So if you look at the scene directors that you've got in this scene, this is the flag scene, right? See how many there are just for the flag.
Yeah.
In, move, out, up or in. So it's coming in at the top, or if it,
At the lower location.
yeah. So there's two ends, two possible ends based on whether
Does
the
it
lower
need two
third's already in
possible
them.
outs or no?
No. Because again, the out has got nothing to do with the Y position of it. It's
So
just
gonna
the,
execute that X position variable.
yeah, whatever the
no matter
move
where
out
it
is. Yep.
Okay.
Now if it did, you'd have to have a scene director for each option. One, that, an out for the top and an out for the lower one. So you see that move, if you double click on move and run that scene director, that's all that's doing.
Do we have to have another one for it to go down? Or does it just play that one backwards?
Let's have a look at when that would play. So let's look at the other scene, which will be one of those lower thirds that complete.
Okay.
Have a look at your scene directors. So both text in, lower text out, in, and in. Let's look at the in. Do you see there's a scene trigger there?
Mm-hmm.
Double click on that trigger.
What's the trigger doing?
Flag move, play. All right, let's look at the out.
Ah, okay, I understand. This is
Scene trigger there at the end.
play reverse.
So you can get lazy and just
Oh no, that's called being smart.
Yep. Because if that flag doesn't exist at the time that it'll drop down. If it doesn't exist, you could say it. Did it go or not? So if a tree falls in the wood and no one's around, did it really make a sound? Yeah. I enjoy the fact that you're getting excited about it as I do. It's like,
Yeah, well, I see the shortcuts because that is how you really get a mastery of doing something in a reasonable amount of time. Because with something with a million buttons, some of those buttons have to make those buttons come to you.
Yeah.
You know?
to say that the setup and the design, there's a lot more time and effort to build it out, but then your operator has just, if the graphic isn't there, it animates in. If they've already got the graphic on the screen and they're just updating the text, then it behaves a different way. Same one scene. And that trigger is telling, the second scene is the flag. Sometimes that flag might be part of that lower third scene. I remember the earlier demo projects where we could take the text out and the flag goes, take the flag text out, the flag disappears. You could still probably have that. No text is in the flag, then we're animating something that just is invisible. Not going to see it. Okay, so that was a good one. Right, let's go back to that the web page. What other examples are in there?
Scripting one, no script, scripting one.
Xpression and dashboard files. Go into that folder. Yeah, download those. No, you can do both. Oh, but so it doesn't zip. Yeah. Go back up. Let's just pull as many stuff as you want.
Things I can look at later.
Visual Logic webinar. Yeah.
Alright. Cool.
Okay. We're doing a crawl now because it looks like that might be something that you might use.
Oh, for credits for sure. That's a good thing to have.
All right, so what do we got? Crawl.
Mhm.
So create a text object. Type anything you like. This is going to be the text that's going to crawl across the screen, right? So feel free to put it either at the top or the bottom and just build it out. Yep.
Make it longer.
Doesn't matter that because when we do crawls, we're taking the text object and
Make sure I spell it right.
yeah. All right. Go ahead and go to the sequence. So this is the basic mode of doing a crawl. Go to the sequencer, create a group, name it something other than group 2. Okay, the mode that the group plays in, you notice it says manual. So if you look down at the bottom in your object and your take inspector, there you go. Change that to roll crawl. So now you get all these settings, and it's unfortunate that the default is a roll. So you see group effect, switch that to crawl, right to left. You can now use a speed number there. I have no clue what that number represents. I just know the bigger the number, the slower it is. No. Hold on. I don't know whether it's bigger or smaller now. I'm always hitting plus or minus to get the speed up. I think the bigger the number, the faster it is. Okay, the right-hand side, you've got global margins. So this is going to be the space between each page. So let's go with left of, I don't know, 40. And then right of 40, so that makes an 80 pixel gap between 2 pages. Loop, let's enable the looping. And then the header footer, let's go with, take the blank page off on the end. And we'll go with that. The wait for key, I hate that one. Because if I take this group, I want it to start playing. I don't want to have to wait for a second key press. So uncheck that. All right, now take the page that you've called crawl and drag and drop it into that group. And you can do it as many times as you like. I usually go with, you can throw it in, and you can arrange the order. You don't have to, you can drag and drop, change order. Okay, so now if you take that group online.
Making sure that you can collapse that in case you pulled it in 80 times. Like
Yes.
okay, just
Right click on one of those, go down to duplicate, and type 80. Hit OK.
Right.
All right, so now take that group. So hit the take key. So there's, so you're going to see when we get to the end of that text object, there's
80
our
pixels.
80 pixels.
Yeah.
Now we could use our visual logic to say at the end of, we could go with making a, let's do that. I would like you to go to the layout. It's going to be easier for me to say, I want a little logo or graphic separator between page 1 and page 2. So go ahead and move that all the way to the left. I would like you to create a cube. We're going to make it yellow, all of it yellow. Make it real small. So go to your cube tab. No. Cube tab. That scaling will be the last thing you want to touch.
Okay.
because that will mess with math if you ever get into visual logic a lot more. The system still thinks it's this big. So if you're saying, hey, like the text box drives the width of a quad, if you've got scaling on, like 2 or 3 times, the math doesn't work. You want something bigger, you make it bigger. You don't scale it up.
Okay, so this is.
So make it smaller.
Yeah. This is like canvas size almost in Photoshop, maybe. And then the transform options are like stretching the.
Yeah.
What's on that
so
canvas?
if you want something bigger, you either move it closer to you, or you make it bigger. Scaling, yeah, it makes it look bigger, but under the hood, it still thinks it's a smaller object.
So it'll render at lower resolution?
Well, yeah, you're going to be
Yeah.
getting pixelation, especially
Okay.
in an image.
Yeah, okay.
But it's just
Yeah.
that mindset of everyone goes for the scale first. And the only time the scale really works is if you've got a color that doesn't have any gradation or it's just a solid color, then it's okay.
Okay.
Or if you're scaling down, I would give you that. Anytime you scale up, you
You're
now are losing
Some sort of
resolution.
pixel density.
Yeah.
Yes.
So make things bigger to make. Yeah. It's just a good practice habit to get into.
Okay.
So
Cube then.
yep. So make that way smaller. Grab that first one, left click and drag on it. All the other values will come in. All right. Go to continuous animation and put one on rotation X, Y, and Z. I want this thing to be spinning as it goes along because why not?
Is there one that can be for everything or no?
No.
I've got X again.
Now, go to your visual logic.
Remind me, which one is it? Don't tell me. There it is. Okay.
Yep. So the scene objects you're going to get are the text, position. Let's see. We're going to go
Bounding
with.
box, maybe?
Well, bounding box will tell us how wide the text is, so we want that. Yep, drag and drop that in. And we want to know what its X position is.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
So position X.
X position of the bounding box.
Yep. We want to add those two together.
Okay.
No. Math block. Add, connect those two together. Or 3 together, isn't it? You get a number that you now are going to apply to the X position.
Of my cube.
Yep. And if you want to use the Y position, so you could take the text position Y
Oh, okay, yeah.
and grab the X, the Y position of the cube and direct connect those. Right. So kind of works because it's because our pivot point of our text is in line with the bottom. So if you grabbed your text one object yep, and then in the transform tab, pivot Y center. There you go. So now if you look it's now in the middle.
Okay, great.
Problem is our cube is right on the edge there. We need that offset, just like we did with the.
So would we
quad.
add an offset here, or we change the pivot point of the cube? That would make it even rotate funny.
But then it'll rotate funny, right?
Well, orbit some
Yeah.
kind of point in space.
Right. So you could put the cube into a group and then take the group's pivot point and move it over. So that would be a way around it. But we could just add a value into this. So you could come down here. We could either add an offset to the output or just go down to show you a different way. You've got a value, add it into the add block.
Oh, okay.
and then adjust that down at the bottom there in the properties section, and just adjust it over.
All right.
All right. So I would go with. All right, we'll go with that.
Consume our 80 pixels.
Close it out. Let's see what it looks like. So take that offline. It should actually start working, but. And if you want to speed this thing up or down, hit the plus, minus buttons there.
Oh, it did not overwrite the 80.
No, it still adds the
Okay.
pivot. We've got folks from Vegas calling me.
You going NAB?
No, this is the Resort Worlds. So one of the event spaces. He shot me a note last night. How does he do keys on a canvas? I was like, oh, well, I can show him. I can do it later on there. All right, so seems to work, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's going through every. So if you expand that group, you'll see what item it's playing.
Not seeing.
Go all the way down.
It's only showing me. Oh,
Hit the own up button. Oh no button. Go ahead and play the group again. Yeah, it's not showing you which one is active. It should be, because it's going one at a time after. Yeah, it's not normal.
Well, didn't we tell it somewhere to loop? No.
Yeah, but because
if
it's the same
If
over.
it's looping, why would we need 80 of them?
Yeah, it's going to do each one go down to 80, then it's going to go to the top. That's what it means by looping.
Oh, we're looping the whole group.
Group, yeah.
Got it. Okay. We're not telling each thing to loop.
So you could type a few pages in there and change the text so that you see it. So
Just pick this one and.
oh yeah, I'd go for the second one. So first, second, third. So you could even just type the word page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4.
Yeah, okay. Alright, now I think I can start over again. So that's how you do
Could have
multiple-
restart.
multiple news stories.
Yeah. There you go. 2, 3.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So that. Oh, well, why isn't it doing that dynamic respacing? Oh,
Shouldn't be, because that pivot, it's the pivot.
it's almost like it's responding to the bounding box of the cube as it expands and contracts in 2D
Yeah.
space.
Oh, that is unusual. And you could also put the cube at the front of the text object. So you could take the visual logic out of it. Try that. So you jump back to your design. So go to your visual logic editor, because you won't be able to move that thing because it's just break this connection. Now grab your text object and you can run it all the way back to the left, and see now visual logic still driving the y-axis.
Yeah.
Now you
That's
can
good.
now you can grab the cube and move it to the left, so it's just there you go. So let's see what that does. That should force it not to do the jiggly thing. Unless the center, the pivot point's not No,
Yeah.
there you go. Go ahead and delete a few of those. So from number 4 onwards, just, yeah.
Yeah.
Control S, just in case. Now run it. So here's the thing, if you want to have this animate over a graphic, like a background, we would need to play the graphic outside of this group. Because every page we're animate, that's why the boxes animate along, because they're part of that page that we're crawling. So, you know what I mean? If we want to put it's not a border, but a background to our,
Yeah.
we need to play that on a negative layer, or a layer behind lower than this. So you've got 2 elements that you have to bring in.
Can you explain why it's popping on there?
Because you've got, how many pages? There's five
Yeah.
pages there, right? That does not,
Is it because in the layout I have that as the first frame? No, because it's not even
No.
appearing there. It's appearing over here.
because that page hasn't come on the screen yet. So 2, 3, 4, there isn't another page after 4 to play. Because that's now the loop. So you add in a few more pages, you're going to have to add in quite a few more pages, or just make one that's a longer line.
That would be good enough.
Last page, number 6 there, this one,
Yeah.
type in a longer line of text.
Why is there periods here?
Because you've got you've got an extra line underneath.
Oh. Correct. What were you asking me to do?
So that last page, just type in, this is the last page of the sequence or the group.
Yeah.
That's page 1, right?
Uh-huh.
It's page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's still, we aren't looped around yet because page 1 has not come off yet.
That was the key I was missing. Page 1 has to come all the way off.
Yep.
Before it can. Okay.
Yep.
It can't.
That's
exist
why
in
it
2
jumped back
places
on.
at once. I got it.
Yep.
Now I understand. Okay.
Studio's off. There you go.
There we go. I gotcha.
So when you do, and the next version I'm going to show you, it is, you have to decide how many pages are going to be on the screen at once, or possible. So think of the shortest amount of text that you might have. So example, how many pages? It's like 6, 7, 8, or 9. 9 pages are going to be built out. Okay, so let's go, there's much more to this, but let's go back into the layout. To do the second way of a crawl, you're going to hit the green plus mark with 2 black boxes in the scene manager. Yep. You're now going to, let's duplicate the one that says crawl.
So is that just like making a group here? So when I drag that in, it'll drag everything in.
It'll be one item with as many pages that we build out.
Okay.
But the difference is this method or the method previous, the sequencer, you can jump to each individual page and type the text or change the text. The method I'm about to show you, the only way you change the text is if you go into the design side and change the text there. It's built more for getting data externally, or if you are locked into this is the crawl and this is the text that we're going to always crawl, it's the method I just showed you is better if you don't have data link. I'm going to show you a cheat for it. So after saying all that, so duplicate that crawl page. Take that duplicate and drag and drop it onto the sequence, that scene group one, the one below it. You're going to do that again. There you go. Let go. So now you've got this connection.
Oh, okay.
Go to the first page there, the roll page. This time you're going to come down to the scene group, and just like you did, we're going to change those settings to be a crawl. Let's change the speed to be 4. Global left and the right, do the same thing we did before. Uncheck the blank page at end. So that's what that would have not caused that page to jump on. We would have, everything would have crawled off, and then page 1 would come in.
Oh, so if I have this checked, it could be starting before it's ending. Okay.
Yes, but there'll be a blank page that crawls across. So with a loop, it's just like we're going one after the other, after the other, after the other, and looping right round. Well, not loop, but not having the blank page at the end. Enable the looping. Now this time we're going to put in a quad, and you're going to take that page there, that first crawl page, select the text. You're going to copy, and then you're going to go back to the scene group, and you're going to paste that in.
I think I copied the text and not the object.
That would be about right. So we did the same thing. So go back again.
Okay.
Yep, select the object, right click on that, copy. Right. So I'm going to get you to do that 2 more times. To just paste again, paste again. So this isn't an effort for us to later on be able to have the operator type in to the pages, the text that they need. But we're going with the assumption that 3 pages worth is all we're ever going to see on the screen. I'm going to be using scripting here.
Okay.
And I've got to remember how we do it. So all this is doing now is just a placeholder. So you go ahead and turn the eyeball off on text 3 and text 2. You're going to take that quad, make it a material, and then you're going to move it up there. So this is where the text is going to slide across. So make that 1920 wide by, I don't know, 60 high. And then move it up. Go with that. So white text on the white.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take the font style,
Yeah.
scene font, all the way to the left there. Turn on the border. Yes, I want to change all my text on the whole project to that. Okay. Go ahead and turn that text off.
Oh.
On the right there, the child. I'm pointing because I'm dragging. There, select that page. Let's rename it to page 1. Okay. Page 1 is text 1. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm still thinking. Right click on that. Duplicate 2 more times. So now we have a page 1, a page 2, page 3. Because the script that we have is going to be, I want to go and grab the text. All right, here we go. Ready for some scripting? So, page 1. You're going to go to the scene object of page 1. And we're going to set a script that runs when the page goes online, when the group goes online. I want to take whatever is in text 1 and I want to paste it into text 1. Let's rename our stuff so we know when we build the script out it makes some sense. So text 1 there, call it page 1 line 1. Yeah, that's fine. Do the same for page 2. It'll be page 2 line 1. Okay. And if you go back to the sequence group, the scene group, and change the name of each text object here. So instead of just say line 1, page 1, page 2, page 3. That's what I'm doing. Thinking of the operator, what do they get to see? They're going to have an object, text object that says page 1, page 2, page 3. Okay.
So this is what we're making editable, or these?
Yeah.
are
So
what
if
we're
you
making-
if
okay.
well, here's the deal. So we'll show you what I mean. So if I go to sequencer here, right click, create a new group. Drag this scene group in. You notice it comes in as a single take ID.
Yeah.
Take that online, like in any other graphic, and there it is what you see. We got it going faster. And there are the 3 pages. And because all, the screen is not, well, here we go.
Because we left blank page checked.
Oh, okay, so there you go.
It starts over. Oh, I also see the ribbon background is including blocks. It's intersecting.
Yeah, so
geometry.
kind of have to keep that in mind as well. Maybe move the thing backwards.
Test everything.
Right, but you get the concept, right?
Yeah.
So I now have an element that doesn't animate. That's that blue line. The pages are now coming through, page 1, page 2, page 3. And the fact you've set the blank page at the end, you see how that works. So you don't get any jumpingness, which might be an all right thing, especially if you've got. But the problem here, as you see here now, is you've got page 1, page 2, page 3. Where if we didn't have these text objects, you wouldn't see this. But the problem is you can type anything in here. So you put page 1 in the front of that line of text. And then do the same for number 2 and 3, just so that we see the text. So this is different, right? You take this offline, put it back online. You don't see any change. Because this is that first page that doesn't animate. That's what's playing. That's what you see in the sequence. But that scene group is playing these other pages. This is the data that we actually do see. So we're going to use scripting to change what's in page 1, page 2, and page 3. So for us to change anything in those pages, you have to go to the design side.
Because these are off. So we just
Yeah,
change the text for something that's off.
right.
Got it. Okay.
Now we're going to make a connection between these pages, these objects, and we get them to jump into each one of these text objects. And the way that we do this is actually on the page itself, go get this go get the text value that's in there. Or, yeah. All right. First page, page 1. Close the scene director. Because we don't got any animation going on there. Because that would just be interesting, I guess. So the idea is you could have things animate in this. That's what's going to get rolled across. We are going to the scene group. You're going to right click on that. And you're going to see there's edit script events. Man, I got to be careful here because you can lose yourself. Okay, Visual Basic scripting. So we need to tell the script about its parent scene. You see at the top here, there are some things that have been predetermined. So if we were to use the word self, it's thinking, or it knows we're talking about the scene, this scene. We need to tell the script about, the parent scene. The group scene there. So you're going to, we do this by defining it. So you're going to put DIM. And we get to give it a name. It's our own variable, so hit a space. I'm drawing a blank of what we could call it. Type main, only because I can't think of anything else. Do lowercase, just as a habit. Space as, space, then type the word X, type X and P, and we'll get a drop down. And this is coming from the software, the SDK, that's part of the Xpression. So what we want is, if you hit the down arrow, and it may have, we want to tell it it is XP scene. And you can just type an S, you can start spelling it out. And there you go. Double click on it. So do a couple lines. So we're going to go with we're going to try this out because we now have to define main. If you do engine dot get scene by name, open bracket, and it's called, that's the problem it's called scene group 1. So it's quote scene group 1.
Quotes.
Yep. And I might have to break out my laptop and pull up the
Close
comma,
bracket or,
space, main.
okay.
Yep. Close bracket. So next line. Next line again. Just have it. Main dot. Notice now we're going to get all of the functions that relate to a expression scene. So you're going to go with get object by name. Open the bracket, quote, and it's going to be called, what did we call it? Page 1. The text object, right? Comma.
Oh, well, are we getting this?
No, we're
scene,
getting
or
the
are we
actual,
getting this?
the text that's in this. If you jump back to the sequence real quick.
Yeah. We did call this
Page one,
is that what
yeah.
we're talking about?
Yep. Comma. Now we haven't defined what page 1 is, so just type in PG1. Again, because of a short text, right? Close that. Close the bracket. So let's go back and define it, because the script doesn't know anything about PG1. It's going to go, what are you talking about? So dim PG1, comma, because we're going to do it for PG2 and PG3,
Oh.
as XP text object. There you go. So now it knows.
Okay. So now it knows
Yeah.
these are variables.
And because we are doing, well, and we're going to copy and paste this, the script, because I guess we don't need to define page 2 and page 3. This page doesn't care about those. It's all about, give me page 1. Next line. Text equals, so that's talking about ourselves. Text equals PG1. I put a space in between the equals. So text space equals. I just don't chance with syntax. I mean, just
I just never know when a space is going to break something.
Right,
Different
that's-
languages are this.
yeah. All right. So we've defined main as a scene. Now it may not work because we may need to get the scene online. That's online. So I do anticipate we're having to come back and mess with this. Hit the lightning bolt. This compiles the script, and if it's happy, which it's not, it would have.
Expression
Yeah.
expected.
So line 5.
Yeah.
What's that saying? Line 5. Expression accept.
expected. Method arguments must be enclosed in parentheses. Do they mean in parentheses as opposed to these brackets?
Well, when you click on that get seen by name, it tells you, if you hover over it, it gives you how it's get seen by name, constant name as a string, that's why we got the quotes,
Yeah.
by reference seen as XP seen as copy by Boolean. So those are,
It's using in the tooltip, it's using parentheses instead of brackets. I was using mustache brackets. Is that
Oh.
what breaks it?
dude, yeah,
That's an accident of that.
yeah. I can't see that from here. So, all right, now lightning bolt that. So what doesn't it like now?
It doesn't like system.text is a namespace and cannot be used as an expression. I don't know what that means.
Number 9, that's okay. Okay, so it is called self.text.
Self-dot.
Now, yep, because that's what's been defined already. Self as XP. No, that's not it. Oh, it doesn't know about the. My bad. Self would be if we were putting the script on the actual text object. So we have to now go and define. You could actually put a comma in here and put in there page. What is the name of this thing? Go back to the page 1 here. Yes, page 1, line 1. So we need to define page 1, line 1 as a text object. So you could just throw a new line.
Okay.
I do a new line.
Do I need
That's my fault
quotes?
there. So dim. Well, this is our name for it. So we could just go with,
Ah, like QNL1.
yep, yep. So we need to get that. We need to associate those two together. So space, new line. So it's going to be self dot get object by name and it is page 1, line 1 spelt out.
Oh,
So
spelled
it,
out.
yeah, it doesn't know
Oh.
about it yet.
That's where my string comes in.
Comma, space, then your P1, L1.
Sorry, I know I need to repeat that for each of the other things, or
No, because we're going to come in and edit. We'll edit it
okay.
for the next one. That self.text now becomes P1L1.text. Yep. Equals PG1. Lightning bolt that. Okay.
It's happy.
What I'm nervous about is using a number in the name definition for the text object,
Why is that?
because usually it's not something I see. But it's got letters in there, so I think we might be all right. Well, we're going to find out. So if you now exit out of this, go to the sequence and take that offline and put it back on again. That sequence, that line. So that didn't work. Because we should have said page 1.
That's funny.
Right, well that's
Yeah.
because that's what this
Repeat
line
here,
is.
Yeah.
But that text is not running.
Yeah.
I mean, that script is not running to copy it into the
It's not adding.
correct. So we're going to go back to that script. We're going to make a change. Once we get it, we'll just be copy and paste and edit the names to protect the innocent. So page 1, yep. Double click on the little, so close that out. Double click on that S.
Ah. Okay.
Okay. All right. Engine get seen by name. Let's help ourselves out. Go up to here and rename that.
The group or the crawl?
The group. The crawl is just telling you what it is.
Okay.
So just call it crawl GRP. Just
I'll
Yep.
that here.
So I'm just going to check to make sure, instead of having to pull out some screwdrivers, so to speak, so we're doing a default dim the main as an XP scene. We're defining PG1, PG2, PG3 as text objects, and we're defining P1 L1, P2 L1, P3 L1 as text objects. We're telling the engine, go get the scene by name, crawl, and then we're referring to it as main. We're then going, hey main, which is the scene, engine, get that, get object by name, page 1. So we're getting the page, the thing that's called page 1 there, and we're referring it to PG1. PG1.text.
That runs, can I take a picture of it, just so I have
Yeah.
a copy of that text?
So PG1.text. We're just telling it, we're not telling it what part of that page to get. Now lightning bolt that. So we're telling it P1 line 1 text to equal page 1.text. Page 1 is this main, which is in its scene. All right, try that one out. I'm hopeful. This has been great. That has not been great. So,
So the idea is it should be cycling through different texts every time it comes up, is that?
well, we're trying to make because there's two ways of doing a crawl. One that just has a bunch of pages in a group, and that sort of makes it easy to edit on the fly.
Right.
But it doesn't have that blue bar that's static, because anything in that group will just be animated.
So it'll just be like an alpha key over. kind of thing.
Yeah, so doing it the other method, you would have to play a graphic, your static graphic that you're animating text over top of.
Does it matter which of these variables is first? Like if I reversed pg1.text and p1.1.text and I just flip-flopped them,
Oh, hang on.
is that what it's expecting?
P1 line 1 dot text. That P1 line 1 dot text
So one of
is
those would
the
probably be the source and one would be the
right,
destination, right?
but that is that the source is pg1 dot text because pg1 has been defined from page 1 unless there's not two spaces between page 1. There's not two spaces there. It's only one. I'm trying to think if it's like a simple spelling mistake. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go. We have to go and ask the engine what is actually online, which is just an extra 2 lines at the beginning. I typically find that to be the problem. All right, so if we're confident everything else is right, let's do that. So above where it says engine get scene by name, go up second line. So in between these, dim FB as XP frame buffer. It might be output frame buffer. So XP.
Oh, XP dot output. XP output.
Here you go. So above engine get seen by name, you're going to do engine dot get seen online.
Online.
Oh no, sorry. Engine get output frame buffer. Open bracket. 0, comma, space FB. Close the quote. That next line, you're going to take the word engine out and replace it with FB. Now lightning bolt that. Now the only trick is if frame buffer 0 and frame buffer, we might need to make that a 1. So lightning bolt it. Test it out. All right, take it offline. Go back to this change that 0 in the get engine. Make that a 1. Lightning bolt. Play it out. Oh, I got so excited there. So not that. All right. Can see why this can be a
So once you get it, definitely save that and then reuse it a lot, right? The lightning bolt, what is that like a
compile.
checker? Oh, is it?
It compiles the checks your the
That one right there is a community place where people share the scripts they've already written. that they
Yeah.
know that
I'm
work.
sure
Yeah.
maybe Discord or something.
Yeah.
So on our Ross Video website, there's a community section, and there is a. Let's try it out. See who can get to it faster. So if you go to the rossvideo.com website, have a look at community. There'll be an Xpression section. After that, I don't know what to search for. I think I'm going to beat you. Well, I've actually got to start up my computer. Okay, you ready?
Ready.
All right, so we have defined our text objects, right? Let's take the numbers out of the equation. Anything with numbers in there we want to get rid of.
In the variable names or in the object names in the...
The variable names.
Okay. With E, Q, W,
I was so close with the script. See, being able to do it from memory is like the next.
Did you guys go through streaming at all? Was that part of any of the machine, like outputting the streams, right?
I didn't use the Hero output of the search.
Yeah.
We saw that each configuration output 14, the last one,
Okay.
has a down. It's on repeat.
Okay.
That is
All right, so we should have 3 defines. We're defining our text objects. So we've got a whole bunch of
Okay.
page 1, page 2, page 3. Just
Yeah.
That's that Hero
Okay.
training box.
Hilo, that's the box.
Yeah, so
yeah,
that's
then we'll leave it as is.
Okay.
Then we're defining a scene. We have an XP scene in the definitions,
You connect like right to YouTube.
and we also have an output frame buffer defined as well, right?
That's that to tell it.
Keep those lines nice and tight, so don't have a blank line in between the dims, just so that it,
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
right? We're keeping it. So what's the okay? Because we got more than one text. The very first line is telling the engine to get the output frame buffer. So we had a 0, and now we've got a 1. We do need to, next line after that is tell the frame buffer to get the scene on layer. Because right now we're telling it to get the scene, but not what layer. That frame buffer has hundreds of thousands, like which one? So you're going to say get scene on layer, and then in brackets it's going to be 0, comma, and then the scene name,
The
main.
tooltip is not coming back. I think it's because I hit tab.
Well, don't hit tab,
Shift tab.
because you're in the background there. So if the pop-up box doesn't come up, back it up to the, and re-enter the
Dot,
the
okay,
dot. Yeah.
I was trying to trigger it. Okay, get scene layer.
0, comma, and then I think we're calling it main in this example, in your example, right? All right. Then we're saying main get object by name, and it's going to be the name of the text that's in the parent scene, which we
Have
call,
that.
yep. And then it is self get object by name, and that's going to be the text object that we're running it into, which is the L1, P1, or line,
Yep.
page 1, line 1.
Yep.
Self get object, and we're calling it pony, pony
Just
loan.
substitute all the numerals for
Yes.
spelled out.
It just sounds, it looks funny, right? So pony loan text equals page 1 dot text. Page 1 dot text. Yeah. Lightning bolt that. Okie dokie. So try that out. If it doesn't work, then we change the frame buffer number 1 to make it a 0. All right, so take it offline. It did not work. So engine get output frame buffer, the number should be a 0.
Yeah, I changed that. It's still not doing it.
All right, hit the oh no button. Take it online again. And that's the online of that page. Because when I run this on my computer, all right, let's double check everything because it's working on my computer. All right, dim main is XVC, frame buffer is output frame buffer, PG1, PG2, PG3, engine, get output frame, get scene on layer 0. Yep, we're playing it on layer 0. Okay, double checking the name of the actual, parent is the name of it. Okay, so frame buffer, we've got 2 frame buffers, 2 FBs in that. So we only should be calling FB once. Get scene on layer. So that's line there. Ditch. Oh, actually, yeah, get rid of that. So we're getting.
That did it. That did it.
What's that?
Removing the extra FB call.
Right.
Got rid of that.
So engine FB. Yeah, that's it.
All right, take my picture. Okay, take a picture.
Do we want to rename? Do we want to? Because if you want to look at mine, actually, I just have to lift it up.
Okay, yeah.
You can.
It should be clear. Okay.
Do you see what? Because I called it
Yeah.
parent, text parent, child
Rather
parent.
than page 1, line 1. Yeah. I was
I'm thinking-
that, but I didn't want to introduce more complexity halfway
No.
through.
A little fuzzy on what's going on, as in like,
Well,
we were all over the place.
yeah, I think I got it.
The way the script, the way the scripting happens, it's using Visual Basic. So if you understand Visual Studio, so the same commands are kind of there. There is an SDK in the help folder that allows you to sort of look at the different methods, but essentially, we've put this script on every time the page goes online. So page 1, page. So you're going to highlight all of this. You're going to copy. You're going to go to page 2. So on the scene object, so we're telling the script everything about what we're talking about from this point on. So we're using the word, hey, anytime I say main, the system knows that it's a scene. And again, the word main could have been anything, but I think numbers we want to steer away from. And also long words, because then you have to type that all in perfectly. We're also defining FB as a frame buffer. So the way that this is working is we have to go figure out what's actually playing out online, and then finding that scene. We are telling it what layer to go look at, because you could have hundreds of layers. We don't know which layer, which scene on what layer. It's working?
It's working.
Yeah, you're
I
smiling.
just updated the variable names and page 2.
Perfect.
It's there.
So we're going, hey, Xpression, what's playing out on channel 1 at layer 0? And it internally gives it back. It's not like it shows us what it is. And then, so that from that scene, because we assume it's the group, that crawl group, within that group, give me the text object. And then we're essentially copying that text object to the page that we're crawling.
So this is the kind of
Text
thing
object.
that would allow you to open up editing the text to an operator, but editing nothing else about the crawl to the operator. Is that right?
Correct, because if
Yeah.
you see what you've got, the choices you have there. So if you close out that script editor, in the sequencer, which is the operator side, all the operator sees is 3 text objects called page 1, page 2, page 3.
Yep.
And they can type in as much as they like in each one of those. And now it's got the it's got the embellishment, which is that spinning cube in between each story. Now you see, if you needed more pages, you would have to add more pages to that first group. You'd page 1, 2, add more text objects, and then you'd have to add in more pages into the group and copy and paste and change that.
Yeah.
Or you just keep typing, make a long,
Yeah.
because there's no limit to
One
how,
page.
one page, it's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have the little logo, the little thing in between.
Complete works of Shakespeare.
But I mean, what's sort of industry standard, right? The fact would be sort of a line of text like that, plus a barrier between them, and
Yeah.
then you rotate through. Can you update this while it's running? Like, if you wanted to say page 3, you have to take it off, update.
Try it.
Right. Okay.
Once it goes round, I mean, click out of the, click to a different line. There you go, just in case.
So what did you modify? Page what?
I changed the text to say page 3. This won't update.
Okay, this won't update.
And here it
Won't,
comes.
because there it is.
So you'd have to take it off and then put it back up?
Well, I haven't even made a script for page 3 yet.
Oh well, then wasn't going to work anyway.
Come on.
That's how I knew it
What
wouldn't
are you doing?
update.
Okay, I was wondering why it didn't say page 3 at the beginning. Okay, so this
Okay.
scene group or crawl group method is really leans itself to data link. So
All right.
we would be getting this from an RSS feed or an Excel sheet or wherever,
I see.
Page
and you
2
don't have
has
that
the
option.
script,
So
but
this
won't
is
update.
the
That's
workaround.
another option. That's
Yeah.
another line. That's
Yeah, it's
budget.
another budget line
Got
item.
it. Okay. But for us, we're doing beat. We're doing a 5-minute newscast. The students can set this up during 10 minutes before the cast, and then we're done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the trick is we'd have to mess with scripting a bit more if we would have to put in if lines were empty, so that you don't have empty pages scrolling along.
Hmm.
Because that would be, ooh. Yeah. But, here's the other thing. What if you drag another scene in, the scene group, drag it in again, or duplicate that one there. The idea is we've got 2 crawl lines.
Oh,
So the one that's online, just drag and drop that in, and type something different here for the 3 pages.
okay.
This is where transition logic would come into play, I think. All right, you take that online now. So that just cut, because we've got a cut, right?
Yeah.
You could do a dissolve.
See,
But the idea is you could then have your first 3 pages and you have another crawl that's the next 3. So if you have more stories. But you see how it just blasts out the old one.
yeah.
So it's not a gentle transition on.
Boop, gone.
Yeah. Because that spinny. So unless you had an empty last page, so not looping, but last page has an empty page and transition through that. But the whole point is here for you to do a loop. So the same stories just loop over and over and over throughout the. So an interesting one is examples. It was many years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
I
This,
changed
this doesn't have like, I mean, I'm sure it would if you paid probably for an additional element, but like real-time closed captioning or something like that. That's probably another module or something.
Yeah, the data link.
Oh, is that what data link?
So we do closed captioning in stadiums
Okay.
on their ribbons.
Mm.
So I do know that we take the closed caption data
Ah.
and it gets to the data link server and then shows up as a text. So in that one particular section, we've got 3, however many, 1 to 3 lines usually, and the system pushes what's in line 1 and then pushes what's in line 2. Line 1 goes down to 2, and so it's just all automatic at that point.
Speaking of data link,
Mm-hmm.
is that the kind of thing that can be attached to some kind of weather forecast system?
Yep.
So that students can make weather things
Mm-hmm.
without having to type in temperatures by looking at the forecast?
Correct. So you're looking for justifications for purchase of data link. Is what I'm getting. So RSS feeds.
Curious, yeah.
Okay.
So which is what we typically use for the weather, and if you had it, that would be one of the examples. We'd look at weather or the
Data link's not
news
something included
stations.
in what we bought?
no.
Oh, okay.
There's data link in the designer. The designer CG stuff has it, and you can use it. But once you get to here,
See
it
it
won't
here.
work.